Hey everyone, Sky here to discuss Rocky II, starring Sylvester Stallone, Talia Shire, Burt Young, Carl Weathers, and Burgess Meredith, and directed by Sylvester Stallone. Now, let's just get right into this movie, shall we? The movie picks up minutes before the original movie ends, and Rocky Balboa, returned by Sylvester Stallone, boxes against Apollo Creed, returned by Carl Weathers, and as soon as it ends, Apollo says to Rocky there will be no rematch, and Rocky calls to Adrian, returned by Talia Shire, and Adrian says to Rocky as she gets close to him, "I love you," and he says the same thing back, and then we pick up in the ambulance, and Mickey, returned by Burgess Meredith, and Paulie, returned by Burt Young, guarding Rocky from paparazzi, excuse me. And Apollo says to Rocky he wants a rematch because Rocky came off lucky, but the problem I'm having is Rocky went the distance, and Apollo thinks what he did was lucky. What Apollo needs to be aware of is he won against Rocky with a split decision, which Apollo thinks it was just luck. Just felt ridiculous. Rocky proposes to Adrian for marriage at the zoo, which I think is the sweetest scene to ask for a hand in marriage. That may be my favorite scene in the movie. Rocky retires from boxing and moves on to commercial work, and Adrian becomes pregnant with a baby, and the scene with the commercial where he looks like a caveman from the past, which felt a little weird. Then he wears the punchy band-aid looking boxer face is totally stupid, and he looks into finding a job with a meat factory by Paulie, and then a month or two later, or maybe days later, I can't remember which one it is, gets laid off, and Rocky at a job isn't as interesting as him in the mafia, and we becoming an underdog boxer. Rocky gets over to Mickey's gym and tells him he can't fight no more and wants to work at the gym, but tells him yes, and Apollo tries to find a way to go back to fighting Rocky, in the ring, but everyone believes he needs to let it go, but Apollo refuses to and tries to scare Rocky into coming back into the ring, and I like those scenes. They're really fun and interesting to watch. Mickey and Rocky accepts Apollo Creed's challenge and takes the boxing match in Thanksgiving. And why Thanksgiving? Because so his hometown can see Apollo Creed beating his ass, and they get to training by chasing a chicken, and I always found that hilarious, and I do think it's funny when Rocky calls himself Kentucky Fried Idiot. That made me laugh, and the training goes on, and Adrian gives birth to a boy, Rocky Jr., and Adrian slips into a coma while giving birth. They do a good job with showing the funny side when it's funny and versus the drama part when it's sad. Adrian wakes up from the coma, and the family reunites with the new addition of the family, Rocky Jr. And before we get to the boxing, we get to the training and Gonna Fly Now with kids singing it, and kids are running the distance with Rocky, and it's inspiring that kids look up to Rocky. Rocky walks to the stadium from his house and gets a Thanksgiving prayer before we get to the stadium, and he arrives to the stadium a little late but gets changed quickly, and the match begins, and Apollo thinks he can beat his ass in 2 rounds, but on the final round they both fall down, and Rocky gets up and wins the fight by getting up on the 10 count on his own. And I like how Rocky wins the second round with Creed as an ending. I thought it was pretty fun. Now it's time for the rating. I'll give this movie a 6.7 out of 10. This is a good sequel, but not as good as the original, and I like it has good timing of comedy and seriousness, and I like to have fun with this movie. I think it's a fun time. So I'd like to thank you guys for joining me, and next time I will be back with Rocky 3, and until next time, Hey yo, Paulie, hit the music!